Hello, athletes and fans of bodybuilding. Tarek El Gindi with the Mr. Olympia. Today, we have the sixth best bodybuilder in the world. He was on the first call out of the Mr. Olympia. The expectations were high, and he did not disappoint. His name is Samson Dauda. Good evening, Samson. How are you?
Good evening, man. I'm good. I'm good. Thanks for having me on, man. Really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Also with us, the voice of bodybuilding, the athlete's representative, and he's the 2000 Mr. USA's Bob Cicherillo.
What's up, boys? How we doing?
How you
Doing
doing, boss?
good. Thank you so much. And with us, four-time Arnold Classic champion, 1992 Mr. USA's, one of the legendary bodybuilders of all times, Flex Wheeler. How are you, Flex?
Great to be with you guys again.
Okay, so I want to start with you, Samson. Talk to us a little bit about your history in bodybuilding, because here in the United States, we get to see Nick Walker turning pro. We got
Yeah.
to see Derek Lunsford turning pro. I had an opportunity to watch both of them trying to get the pro card and not getting it initially and eventually getting it. But I want you to tell the American public about your amateur years and when you turned pro and your first pro bodybuilding shows.
I did my first. I mean, I competed for the first time in 2014, and it's all just like my girlfriend got me into it, and she just saw my physique and said, you know what, I got good potential to do something in it. And after months of trying to convince me, I sort of like, okay, I'll give it a go. So I sort of did my first year in 2014, just doing local show around my area, sort of thing. And people kept on saying the same thing, they kept on saying, man, you got potential to do great in this sport. You need to really take it seriously. But so eventually I sort of kind of did and said, okay, right, all right, let me see what bodybuilding is really about. So I started studying the sport and sort of like looking into what the Olympia is and what actually goes on and what it's all about. So kind of competed amateurly for 2015, 2016. And then eventually in 2017, I turned pro in Italy in a Diamond Cup show in Italy, in Rome. And obviously, once you turn pro, it's like, okay, it's definitely, you pretty much just thrown the shark tanks with the big boys, and then you have to sort of learn to swim. And it's just kind of taking time of sort of working and doing show after show until finally start finding a way to make this work for me and how I could sort of figure out my physique and figure out how to actually really improve and bring, better package each year. And, things just kind of took its toll from then.
So talk to me. Okay, you turned pro in Italy.
Yeah.
Talk to me about your first pro show and what was your placing on your first pro show and where was that?
Yeah, my first pro show was EVLS Prague in 2018. I was fifth at that show. I think Rowley won it. Nathan was second. Lucas Ozadel was third. I can't remember who was fourth. But yeah, that was my first pro show, and obviously it was definitely an experience. It was daunting at the time because these are the guys. I remember when I first, sort of took interest in bodybuilding. It was when the first generation Iron movie came out, and that was the first time I actually watched bodybuilding, like really saw what it was about. And for me, it was like a shock because I'd never seen guys that big and that freaky before, and I was like, wow. And it sort of got my interest and sort of really got me into the idea of, okay, this is what I want to do. So to think then a few years later, I'm on stage with Rowley and Nathan and them guys, it was surreal for me, man. It felt like this just can't be real. It just really felt crazy, So that was definitely one of them experiences that I would never forget.
And you earned your qualification in Europe, right? It was the show in Poland. Is that correct?
Oh, no, it was the Prague show.
It was the Prague show, yeah.
I went back there and I won the show then.
And Raphael took second,
Yeah.
and your nemesis, Nathan Diasha, took fourth.
Yeah. I mean, that's
You
after.
You still talk to Nathan, or are you guys still beefing?
We never really talk. I've tried with Nathan so many times. I've tried, man, but I don't know, man. I think it must be a British thing. The fight for being the best British bodybuilder is intense. And, it's just, I don't know, man. Bodybuilders and competitive spirit, it does go crazy sometimes. So, I mean, but I did say to Nathan, right, when we first started competing, I remember you were judging us in 2019 when we went head to head. And I said, you know what, I know that it might not be today, it might not be tomorrow, but eventually I will beat you. And he really didn't want to hear that until he had
It was a true statement, though.
Yeah.
Hey, Flex, you understand a lot about rivalries. Nathan Diasha was the best bodybuilder from the UK, but it looks like Samson Dauda has surpassed him. Um, Talk to us a little bit about the rivalries that you experienced in the past. You against Kevin Levrone, against Sean Ray, against Chris Cormier. And what would be your advice to Samson Dauda to deal with guys that, you know, they're friends, but they're also enemies, such as Nathan Diasha?
Yeah, I really didn't have real beef with anyone except seasonal with Sean. So when it came time to compete, he was not my friend, didn't want to talk to me. And, as soon as the show was over, we're traveling the world together, having a good time. I think it was quite different then because, and Bob, you let me know what you think, but I just think we're a little bit closer back then, even though we didn't have the internet or anything. Like, everybody would always come in to go Jim Venice. So we would see everybody and hang out and fill everybody out. It's really interesting. Like I said before, how could you have beef or be pissed at a man who's only trying to achieve what you do? And if he beats you, what do you want? You want that respect. So, you want the same respect when you win. So I just don't get it. Honestly, if it's serious beef, I think it's childish. Are you kidding me? I think it's beyond childish. Samson, I'm pretty sure you from a similar area where I'm at, you really got beef. It's no more talking. Don't say nothing.
Yeah.
Let's just get it in. If it's true beef, right? But my advice to you, brother, is don't trip, man. Don't waste an ounce of energy towards people that you can't control at all. Focus all on yourself and just let your work do the talking. But it's childish, man, to me. And you look in any other industry like the rap industry, that can get you killed. So you got to be very careful where people are from, because I'm from a very, very different neighborhood, and you talk like that, and I know Bob too. You talk trash in a neighborhood, expect for that person to come up to you. He's not going to say nothing. He's just going to light you up. So people really need to be respectful and careful that people are from different denominations and backgrounds in their career and where they're from.
Hey, Bob, you were there when we had that conference with Nathan Diasha and Samson Dauda. And correct me if I'm wrong, you were leading the press conference. I just had the feeling that Nathan Diasha felt that Samson Dauda was coming. He was rising. Do you agree or disagree?
No, absolutely. Listen, I know both these guys well from my time in the UK, so I've seen them both come up into the pro ranks. And at this point, it's completely switched. Nathan was the guy on top. Samson was the guy coming up. Of course, you could see him coming. Anybody with two eyes that know bodybuilding could see Samson coming a mile away. But we haven't seen Nathan in a few years, due to a couple different circumstances. And we're hoping he gets back because I think he's a good talent. But clearly, Samson has established himself, especially with this past Olympia, that he's now the guy on top. And Nathan really has to come now and take what Samson has achieved. So, and listen, it can be healthy. I mean, like Flex says, there's people come from all different areas. And listen, at the end of the day, you're all in the same boat. And there is no defense in bodybuilding. All right. We all have to remember that. It's all up to the judges. Everybody on that stage is looking to win, do as good as they can, put that paycheck. The other guy can't do anything about you. Flex has said that a million times. Listen, you could be friendly. You can ham it up in the back, help each other even, like we used to do in the old days.
Yeah.
We didn't have gurus in the old days and coaches. We all kind of helped each other by pawning off information that may or may not help the other guy.
Yeah.
Flex, you remember probably the most famous story is Kevin Levrone helping Ronnie to not only beat him, but go on to win 8 straight.
Yeah, by giving him some alcohol before.
Yeah.
But,
Ronnie was just a drink away from 8 Olympians.
Yeah, and even me helping Ronnie and Dexter and all that. I mean, I just wanted the person to be at their top level for me to take them out. I want them to be light. I want them to, be pissing turpentine through a brush fire and then come and put that fire out. But it's nothing wrong with being competitive. Like you said, Bob. Listen, again, back in our time, we would root each other on. If I'm behind you, I'm yelling for you. If I'm on side of you, I'm trying to embarrass you and make you look like an amateur. But if I'm not in your lineup, we'd be like, hang in there, man. Come on. One more round. Hang in there. So it was this love. I just don't get it. And Bob, like you said, if you really a man, you need to go holler at the judges because they're the one who made the decision. But you're not
Yeah.
going to do that because you're a real punk, right? You rather go towards and holler at another person. But like I said, people need to be careful because we all come from different backgrounds, man.
Derek, like I said, the roles have now switched. That Samson in the lead is the guy to beat, and if Nathan comes back, and we're all hoping he does, he's got a tall mountain to climb here because Samson has really established himself and coming into his own here at the Olympia and a front runner for the upcoming Arnold.
So, one of the things that people are talking about Samson Dauda is that he is definitely an amazing bodybuilder, but he can't get really lean, that his skin is a bit thick. And that might be one of the things that prevents him from moving up. It's a positive criticism because what he has done is he's gained a lot of size and he's managed that first call out. But now people are like, okay, can this guy actually get Dexter Jackson, Chris Cormier, Flex Wheeler, thin skin? Really, talk to us about this criticism against you, Samson. People are saying that you have all the tools, but you haven't shown to be shredded to the bones.
I mean, I think that's probably a positive one, from my sense, because I think, if I'm still able to place top 6 in this lineup, especially, and still not be at my best, isn't that something crazy to be worried about? Yeah. Because we're still coming up and we're still learning. Like I said, I'm only been in the game quite new, so I'm still trying to figure myself out and figuring out, okay, how to get my body to that point. But then when it does, what happens then? So I take it as a positive that the idea is I'm still not at my best, but I'm able to stand on stage and rival these guys at this level.
Tarek, don't you think that's interesting? They're talking about what Samson don't have, but everything he has, most people who are talking about him don't have anything that he has.
Bingo.
Real interesting. Right, Bobby?
No, Bob.
Well stated, bro. Well stated.
Yeah. Bob, I'm gonna mention your name here because 6 months prior to the Olympia, Bob Ciccarello said that Hadi Choopan was going to win the Olympia, and that has to go to the records because I've done these lives every week, and Bob was the only one that picked Hadi to win. Everybody was talking about a very deep lineup. When it comes to the Arnold Classic, Bob has clearly mentioned that Samson Dauda is the biggest threat against Nick Walker. Now, Bob, do you believe that if this guy comes in shredded to the bone, he could potentially surpass Nick Walker? Is that what you're saying?
Well, here's the deal, right? Right now, Nick Walker is in the lead because of his placing over Samson at the Olympia. I think even Samson recognizes that. Now, I do have an issue, and I really hope this is something that can change in the future of bodybuilding. I don't think Samson needs to be, quote, shredded to the bone, because if he is, he probably doesn't look like the Samson that you want to see on stage. But being in condition is what we're talking about, is one criteria amongst 5 or 6: size, shape, proportion, symmetry. Kudos to Milos out there. Posing, presentation, thickness, muscle maturity. All these things come into play. And like Flex just eloquently said a few minutes ago, he's got all these check marks checked off. Got this, got this, got this, got this. So how much do you penalize a guy if he's not, quote, as shredded as the other guy? I can find more fault in Nick Walker's physique than I can in Samson's physique. Now, that said, there is a means to an end, all right? Nick Walker, yes, he gets in great shape and condition, doesn't have the genetics that Samson has. Samson has the genetics and just needs to have enough of those other qualities to give him the, quote, best physique on stage on that day. That's really what it comes down to when it comes into pro bodybuilding. And for these reasons, I would like to see the judging change a little bit going into the future, where all these things are taken into consideration. If all we're looking for is the most ripped guy on stage, that's not bodybuilding.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. And that's not one of the criterias. That is one of the criterias, but it's not the only criteria. Let me go back to you, Bob, and then I'll go to you, Flex. On the lineup.
I'm going to be eating this. It's going to be in my mouth. Samson, you okay?
Yeah, I'm all right.
Sure, look.
Yeah, I'm good.
Bob, on the top 6, you have Derek Lunsford, you have Brandon Curry, and you have Simpson Dauda.
Mhm.
Is this guy Simpson Dauda the one with the best and prettiest lines?
Oh, listen, I said, and we've got this on tape too for all these internet sleuths out there. I've said for a while now, Samson is the best physique out of all of them. All of them. Okay. Now that's a given. If you know bodybuilding, shape, proportion, again, symmetry, muscularity, you know, he's got every attribute that he needs. If Samson and Nick Walker both show up on game day at the Arnold at 100%, Samson beats him 10 times out of 10. Okay, just by virtue of all those things I just mentioned. There's only so much Nick can do. He knows that. And Nick is smart. He's going to come in condition. Samson's smart. He knows that. He's going to try to get in the best shape he can get into without sacrificing those other 5 things that I mentioned. Because if any of those things got to get sacrificed, and again, that's not what we're looking for, and that's not what Samson's looking for. Yeah. He's making minor adjustments right now. He's right there. Quite frankly, if Samson I had higher at the Olympia, could have been 3rd or 4th in my book easily. And you're going to see this play out again with these 2 guys, him and Nick, going at it at the Arnold. Small adjustments is all he needs. Doesn't need to reinvent the wheel. He's kept lean since the Olympia, and he's got the better physique up there on paper. So now you play the game.
Flex, you understand everything about lines, you know, pretty lines on stage. Brandon Curry has been known to have the prettiest lines on that first call out. But now this guy, Simpson Dauda, has joined the group. Is Simpson Dauda more aesthetically pleasing than Brandon Curry and Derek Lunsford?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, you know, I'm redundant with some of the things I say, but it's just about matchups, you know. So like Bob said, Samson has all the check marks except maybe one, and he's gaining on that. But there's so many more weaknesses on everybody else. Yeah, of course he is. You know, it's about matchups. So Samson comes in shape, and if Nick Walker comes in shape, and it comes down to those 2, you know, Samson's going to win. Just
you know,
because
one
he's
thing,
bigger, more pleasing bodybuilder to look at, his aesthetics and lines and everything. And you know, like Bob said, Nick knows that. He's very aware of it. But Nick's bringing in what he has red hot. I think he's going to force everybody to deal with it.
You know, Simpson Dauda hit a side chest next to Big Ramy while we were judging. And I had an opportunity to look at both of them up close. And I have to say that Simpson Dauda was not outsized by Big Ramy on the side chest. Now, I also have to say that Nick Walker had the best side chest on that lineup. Simpson, I want to ask you a question. Milo Sarcev said, you just love to pose, you love to battle. But you have to admit, that first call out was something unique and special. When they called your name, when Big Steve called your name, along with Hadi Shupa and Derek Lunsford and Big Ramy, what went through your mind?
I was like, well, did they just make a mistake? I was like, did I really just hear my name? Honestly, you know what? It's one thing, you know, being on the other side watching it, but when you're there and you're backstage and you see all these guys up close and you see how impressive they look, and you know, it's always the same bodybuilding mentality, man. When you're backstage, you see everybody way better than you can ever possibly be. And you all of a sudden get caught up in that point, and your mind starts to play up, and you're thinking, man, okay, I don't know if I'm ready for this. Or, man, I hope I practiced enough. I hope I did this enough, you know. And so I know with me, you know, the minute I get up on that stage, all those doesn't matter. All the noise quiets down, and it's just me, the crowd, the stage. You know, I do my work. But it really does, when you're standing there and you're walking out, it really does feel like, oh crap, oh crap, oh crap, oh crap. Like, oh, we're gonna do this. So obviously coming out for the comparisons and sort of doing the single walk-ons and then coming back and then having that call out happen. I remember standing there at the time with like 30 guys on stage and looking around and going, oh my God, there's a lot of muscle on this stage. This looks incredible. And I'm thinking, man, okay, whatever happens will happen. I've done my best, you know. And then you hear the noise and you hear the names being called out. And I heard mine, and honestly, it almost felt like that's a real moment of, oh my God. And you're walking out, and it must feel like your confidence goes from here to all of a sudden up here. And you're like, yeah, okay, now we're going to have some fun, you know. And it really felt like that at the time. And it was surreal. It was genuinely surreal to me.
Now, another question to you. You not only carry, the Simpson Dauda support team, but it feels like we see here in the comments that the entire United Kingdom now is behind you, that you are the next hope to possibly winning an Arnold Classic or a Mr. Olympia. You are the closest thing they have since Dorian Yates. How does this feel?
It feels amazing, man. It really does feel amazing, because like, especially coming up in the UK bodybuilding scene, Dorian was always being that beacon right at the top where it feels like, okay, that's the benchmark right there. And then Nathan came on, and I remember I did my first pro show when Nathan won his pro card, and you sort of looked at Nathan like, oh my God, it's the next guy. He's the one. This is the next UK big thing. And he went on to do that. And then you kind of think, okay, maybe one day. And now that you're sort of in this position now, it feels, it just feels crazy because you always think like, you don't know how to really take it on board, and it's happening, but you still don't know how to sort of really digest that. And you just think, you know what, man, just do what you do. Put your head down and keep working, because this is all you can do. This is all the things that you've mastered getting to this point. So just carry on doing that.
Flex, I have a question for you. In your career, you traveled a lot, and you had all the American bodybuilders, Sean Ray, Kevin Levrone, Chris Cormier, but you had the experience of competing against guys that represented a nation by themselves, right? What is the feeling that you get from these guys that are carrying the flag of an entire country?
Yeah, it's different, right? Some people, it spurs them on, and other people, it crushes them. They get crushed under the weight of that. So for me, probably because of more personal challenges, health, mental challenges, it just crushed me. It was unbearable, especially the Olympia. I honestly didn't feel no pressure going into the Ironman or the Arnold Classic. I guess probably because I won those. But, the Olympia, I just was crushed under the weight of just everybody saying I'm going to win and all that stuff. So everybody's different, man. Everybody's different,
Bob, do you see, that some of these guys that carry the flag of an entire nation, Ronnie Coleman, Flex Wheeler, Brandon Curry, these guys have a lot of other American counterparts, but you look at a guy like Simpson Dauda, like Hadi Choopan, Big Ramy, it's a lot more pressure because they are the number one representative of an entire nation, correct?
Very correct. There's a little bit of a differences here. Like nobody that's been in that position feels like they're carrying the weight of America. Okay, it doesn't work like that in our particular sport. In bodybuilding, however, for anybody that's seen any of the videos of Hadi Choopan going home to a hero's welcome, Big Ramy went home to a hero's welcome this past Olympia, and he got beat in the 5th place. They had a parade like he just won, for the 12th time, that type of situation at home. Other countries, the UK is a little bit less than those, but certainly still more than America. So yes, the guys across the pond have a little bit more pressure on them to produce. And like Samson said, not since Dorian Yates really has the UK produced a superstar until Nathan, and now Samson has kind of put himself in that position. So right now, he's got a little bit of pressure, but I think what's helping Samson the most, and Samson, you can speak on this certainly, is he's not starstruck anymore. Okay, you get into the pros, the IFBB, right? You can see him nodding in agreement, right? You get into the pro league, and all of a sudden you're up against these guys that you've been looking at on the videos and on Instagram, used to be in the magazines, years ago. And there's a little bit of starstruck there. You're backstage looking at these guys going, oh my God, like I can't beat this guy. I've been, he's been my idol, right? That type of thinking. Now he's in a different position. Samson now has grown into himself. He knows who he is. He knows what he's got. And now he's past that point of being that little kid who's excited to be there. Now he wants to kick their asses and take what he's going for and put that title in his back pocket. You're going to see a different Samson Dauda at this Arnold. That's more confident, more comfortable in his own skin, and he's out there looking to beat these guys. He's not mesmerized anymore about what they got. He respects them. And I assume you'd agree with that, Samson, but he wants to beat him.
Oh, yeah.
Samson, are you winning the Arnold Classic?
Oh, yeah. Now, as soon as I got off the Olympia stage, I was like, yeah, I'm winning the Arnold. I didn't have to wait for the list to come out. I didn't have to see who was in it. I was like, yeah, I'm taking the Arnold. Because I think there's something to be said, like when you work hard for something and then you see the reward and you have that reward bear fruit and you go, wow, you step back and go, okay, so if I work hard, I genuinely can get rewarded for it. It inspires you like nothing ever. It pushes you like nothing ever before. So coming off the Olympia stage, I was like, man, I'm ready to grind because I can see where I'm going. So now it feels different. It no longer feels like, okay, you're trying to catch up with those guys. It feels like you're there. All you need to do is push a little bit further and you're going to pass them. So you go home and you hit the gym harder than you've never hit it before, because now it's not a case of you trying to catch up. It's not a case of, okay, pass them.
Mhm.
Okay,
And
so
Tarek, let me add this. If there's one sure bet on the entire weekend at the Arnold, we can all speculate who's going to win, top 3, top 5, right? All these podcasts and predictions. If there's a sure bet, it's that Samson Dauda will be $10,000 richer, winning that Best Poser Award, which, so for some odd reason, goes by the wayside. Last year, Brandon Curry won it. I look back next to me, and Brandon had the biggest surprise look. He couldn't even believe he won it, right? Because Sergio wasn't there. So, Samson, congratulations in advance.
Thank you.
Pose your heart out, brother. Do what you normally do, and it's 10 grand in your pocket.
Thanks very much.
So,
I enjoy it.
Samson, I see that you have the hat hostile,
Mhm.
and that's exactly how we're going to get on this live hostile. So
Yeah.
if you're winning the Arnold Classic, you're getting an invitation from King Charles, to go to Buckingham Palace afterwards. Who's coming in second?
Man, I don't really have to think about who's second. I got to think about where I'm coming.
Good
They
answer.
can fight for second. I just worry about first place. That's all. Winners worry about winning.
So basically, Nick Walker is not on your radar, right?
Well, the thing is, you can't say nobody's on your radar because I'll be just naive. But the thing is, I know from watching, especially from the Olympia, I know what I have to do now to pass him. And after seeing him up close and having that competition already happen, I'm like, okay, I know what I got to go back to do. I know what homework I got to do. And that's exactly what I'm doing.
And what do you have to do to pass Nick Walker?
Just come in like you do, but just a little bit sharper. Don't try to reinvent the wheel. Don't try to play someone else's game. Play your game. Just play your game better.
Well said.
Hey, Bob, so give me who do you think is going to be on the first call out at the Arnold? There's all these guys joining. Give me the first call out at the Arnold. And Flex, come on, just get ready to lose more followers, okay?
All right. So I don't know the entire lineup, but I do know Samson will absolutely be there. Nick Walker will absolutely be there. Big Ramy should be there. I would assume that we're going to see what we're going to see, hopefully a little bit more improved from the Olympia. But who's on the fence is like Bonac. And we said this the last podcast that we did. If there's two guys that their career is on the line, literally, it's Bonac and Ramy. Both these guys, didn't perform as expected at the Olympia. That was a big fall from grace for William Bonac, the Conqueror, who's normally is about as predictable as it comes to come in shape and be in contention. But we didn't see that from him. So, again, just an anomaly. Did he just kind of make some last-minute changes that backfired, or has that ship sailed? Now, we're going to see. But I would expect those 4 guys at least to be in the first call-out. I don't know if you've got a list in front of you, Tarek, but of other potentials in there. But the highest-ranked guys should be the guys in the first call-out, barring anything unusual, of course. But
Flex, do you wanna give your opinion on the first call-out of the Arnold Classic?
I agree with Bob. I think Samson would be in it. I think Big Ramy would be in it just because he's a 2-time Mr. Olympia and he carries a lot of weight to himself. I think, honestly, Sean Clarita could definitely be in the top 5.
Oh, I forgot about Clarita. Yeah, good catch.
You can't go back, Bob.
I got to put him in there.
Bob, you can go back, okay?
I can go back. I don't have a list in front of me, but I would absolutely think that Sean Clarita will, without question, be in the first call.
Yeah, and then it's just going to be a dogfight. It's going to be a dogfight between everybody else and potentially Andrew Jack trying to crack that top 5.
That's right. Jack threw his hat in the ring too, right?
No, yeah, we have some fans here. Z Owen, he's quite upset at us. Why is Andrew not being talked? So we are referring to Andrew Jack myself. Now, some people believe, including Milo Sarcev, his coach, he goes, one of the areas that Samson could add some muscular development and possibly some width is the back. Bob, do you see the back being a weak back, or just, a little bit more width, and this guy will be killing people from the back?
Are we talking about Samson?
Samson Dauda, yeah.
No, he doesn't. Listen, no, he's
for
not
some
missing.
reason, him and Brendan Curry and Samson, they all came with green shorts.
Yeah, so I think.
Did you guys
I don't
go
know.
to Costco before the show or something?
They got a special on it from CJ, but so no, Samson's not lacking in anything. Okay, he's the most complete guy out there, and I'm glad you mentioned Jack. My apologies, folks, because I failed to do my homework and I do not have a current list in front of me. So quite frankly, I just forgot that Jack was in the show. These guys keep popping in now, but let me tell you something. Andrew Jack, who I'm a big fan of, between him and Samson, they have the two most complete physiques of anybody that's going to be competing. Andrew Jack is trouble. He's trouble because what you see is a slightly larger version of Samson. Okay, now Samson's a little bit more complete. Andrew's got to fill out a couple of spots, but he's right there also. If this guy comes in shape, he's trouble up there. And let me tell you, between him and Samson, this is where Clarita's got his hands full, because he's got some monsters up there that he's got to stand between. Now, this is different than Derek Lunsford, okay, at 225, 230 pounds at the Olympia. Sean Clarita has no ability with his frame to be more than 180 pounds on that game day stage. So that is a huge difference when you're standing in between Samson and Andrew Jack, and Big Rami's on the other side.
What do you think about his back double biceps flex? You think this is a back double biceps that can beat people, or he's still going to have to develop muscular development to start beating people from the back?
Yeah, I think his back can go for some improvement. And it's not that it's a weak back. It's just that he has crazy other body parts, right? So it's not that his back is weak, because you put that on a different person, that's an incredible back. It's just that everything else is so outstanding. His back is just something that needs to catch up with. And that's, I think, what everybody has, that type of situation, one lagging body part. And I've always said to most people, the back is one of the most difficult parts to build, because you can't literally see that. If you're doing curls, you can see the muscle move, chest or anything else from the front, but you can't see your back. So it takes a lot of mental concentration to do that. Samson, I would just say, your back pose is like your front double bicep. I would definitely do behind the neck pull downs, right? That movement is the exact pose that you do real double bicep. So that's the only way you can actually bring those body parts out. And then the other thing is just like, people don't do any anymore, Bob, but pull-ups, man.
Yeah.
We did pull-ups. And I mean, we not only did pull-ups, we will put like 3 and 4 40-pound plates hanging from us doing
That's
pull-ups.
a lost art, bro.
Hell yeah, man. That's your number one bread and butter you should go to. But sincerely, think about that. Pulling down to the rear back is the same exact pose of your rear double bicep. So that's how you get that graded detail. But at the end of the day, we all have gifts, right? We all have gifts, and some we don't. But I do think it's a part that you can bring up, and it's just a matter of time. I do.
Now, Tarek, let me just chime in on the back stuff, okay? I hope the Olympia this past year showed everybody that the old moniker "shows are one from the back" is the most overused saying in bodybuilding, okay? They are one from the back. They're also one from the front, the side, the rear, right? They're one from every position there is. Derek Lunsford beat Hadi Choopan all day long from the back, and he still lost the show, okay? So I don't care what you got to work on. It's all about having a balanced physique. It's not about who's got the most amount of strengths. It's about who has the least amount of weaknesses.
Well, Bob, I think we go through cycles, because 10 years ago, it was all about striated glutes. Whoever had striated glutes would win the show.
Damn,
now,
Ronnie, I hate him for that.
Yeah, let me tell you something. That was unfair because it's not a glute contest. More bodybuilders have ruined their physiques in search of striated glutes than any other thing in bodybuilding. All right, let me repeat that, folks. By trying to get one thing, you sacrifice 6. By trying to get ripped, this is what I said earlier, Samson, right? Yeah. If you're expecting a rip to the bone Samson Dauda, okay, you're not going to get the best Samson Daoud on stage. You're going to go, what happened to Samson? Man, he looked better at the Olympia. There's a fine line there, folks. Not everybody needs to be, quote, shredded to the bone, okay? It's a bodybuilding contest.
Damn Ronnie for that. You know, I hate you, Ronnie, for that. You know what? I even look back at older pictures like Gaspari and Roy Callender. They all had striated glutes, but it was never mentioned. You know, it was never mentioned until Ronnie came out with that alien shit he had going on.
Well, let's take the best example of all time, okay? Actually, there's two examples. Arnold, but, you know, that's old school. By the way, happy birthday, Arnold. I think it's today, if I'm not mistaken, or yesterday. Did I miss it? Anyway, Lee Haney. Lee Haney never had a line on his ass, right? But he also had probably one of the best physiques, if not the argumentative, right? Best bodybuilder of all time. It wasn't about glutes. It was about his overall physique. But Gaspari had lines in his ass. Yeah. But he didn't have a better physique than Lee did.
Yeah.
And sometimes we see competitors, they have striated glutes, but they're missing everything else.
Yeah, they're missing 10 other things, right?
Yeah. They're doing like 30 ass poses. You know, from all different angles.
By the way, can somebody answer me this question? This is to anybody else on the panel here. Why is it that when guys turn to the rear, they got to take their hands and they got to feel their ass, like to make sure it's still there? Or like, why do you have to do that before you hit a back shot? What's that all about?
I think they are trying to bring attention to the judges to look at their separation. I think, you know, Bob, some guys, they start and then others copy, you know, and then you see the classic physique guys doing it. I think the sport goes.
Can you imagine anybody like nobody grabs their chest first and then hits the pose, right?
I do remember counting my abs, trying to just get some points on Ronnie. I was like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He only has 4. And then he got me when he turned around, and I stupidly looked back at his glutes, and I'm like, let me pull my pants all the way down around my butt here.
Well, you're right, Bob. That would be hilarious if somebody touched their chest right before hitting a side chest.
Or anything. Why not grab it? The same thing with the side chest. Everybody's got to do that little move with the line down the leg now. Like, that's the move now. Hey, look at this line right here, everybody.
Hey, Samson, I want to talk to you about Milos the Mind Sarcev. A lot of people always knew that you had amazing genetics, but it looked like you gained a lot of muscular development, a lot of mass since you've joined Milos Sarcev. Talk to us a little bit about working with Milos as a coach, as a mentor, as a trainer.
Milos is great, man. Honestly, you know, he's crazy. Obviously, you guys know him. He talks a lot.
He's crazy.
He's definitely crazy. There's no getting away from that. But what he is, man, you can't deny how intelligent he is and what he knows. And I remember when I started with him last year, and he saw me, and he actually saw me. And he said, like, look, man, you know, I've seen a lot of guys in the 90s that have your same physique, your same genetics, and you're not working to your best abilities. Let me show you what we used to do. And I really think that we can make something happen. And I just listened to him. And as soon as I did that, changes just happened quite drastically. And we had, at that point, we were already 7 weeks off from a show, so we never really had an off season. We just went straight into a show. And he sort of showed me how to diet aggressively, put it, you know. He really showed me that, you know, the fear of, if I cut my food too long, I'm going to lose muscle, all that. He really showed me how much of a myth that actually is and how far you can actually push your body to actually get in shape, you know. So he sort of taught me that. And then when we came around to the off season, you know, he said to me that, look, honestly, the way your body responds is crazy. And I think I could put 30 pounds of muscle on you in 1 year. And I sort of thought, you know what, you know, coaches always say that. They always say they're going to do this and they're going to do that. I'm like, yeah, okay, let's just see what happens, you know. And then we had the off season, and right from the get-go, we just started growing. And even for me, being in that position, it was scary for me because I was like, okay, I've never seen that happen so fast on my physique that quickly before. And I sort of stood back and I was saying to him, I mean, every week we check in, I was like, yeah, Milos, the scales are still going up. And he was like, okay, let me have a look at you. Okay, your abs are still there, your separation is still there, so don't complain, just keep doing it. And we just kept on going through off season, and we got up to 330 pounds in the off season, and I still have abs. So I was like, you know, you looking at it, and it's so scary to think, and you're thinking, you know, nobody's going to believe me. No one's going to believe this. This is just, it's unthinkable. And we're standing there, and I'm like, this is what's happening. And Milos, he's in shock himself. He's going, okay. And I'm like, what is this normal? What's happened there? And he's like, well,
330?
Yeah. And he kind of like, you look to go, well, you're meant for this. Honestly, that you're just meant to do this. This is your body just seems to love this, to put on all that much muscle in that time, not hold tons of water, not hold that much fat on there, and still be clean with abs, tight stomach, and everything at 330 pounds. He goes, this is ridiculous. So I just kind of like, well, okay, this is what happens, then I'm just going to go with it. So we kind of had that great offseason, between the Arnold last year and Olympia this year. I think we put on like 16 pounds of stage weight. And it was something that I haven't stopped back. And we were like, you know what? The prep, I was like, I don't want to check the scales. I don't want to check my weight because honestly, I don't want to have that sort of mental thing going in there thinking, okay, you're trying to play the size game or anything like that. Let's just focus on getting in shape. And then when we get to the Olympia, we can find out afterwards. So it's after the Olympia, that's when we actually checked and we actually realized, I was weighing about 296 pounds. And we were like, that was kind of like the moment where we kind of think, okay, that was scary, So it's that, working with someone like that can really show you things that you never thought of before and show you, look, this is what your body can really do if you just have the right guidance in it.
All right, great. Samson, I gotta interject. I'm gonna hopefully speak for me and Flex. I'm gonna 99% that he's gonna agree. But do you want to win the Olympia this next year?
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna give you the key right now. Yeah. Right? To winning the Olympia in 2023.
And look, Samson, this is the guy that predicted that Hadi
Yeah.
Choopan was going to win the Olympia. So you better pay attention to Bob Stradamus right now.
This is from the OGs out here, okay? You want to win the Olympia. Don't be 330 pounds this year in the off season. Be 300 pounds, okay? Mm-hmm. And let me tell you something, brother. You're going to be thinking yourself, you could be able to see what shoes you're wearing. Yeah. All right. You could take 3 steps without taking a breath, going upstairs to go to bed, right? Yeah. You don't need to be 330 pounds, brother. Okay. That's not healthy, not necessary, but it's not necessary for you. You got all the tools there is, brother. Stay a little bit lean. This is not against Milos. I know he's got his protocols and his things, but this is from me personally. Okay. And again, if Flex can agree or disagree, but be 300 pounds, bro, not 330.
Okay. Yeah, I just got a message from Milos Sarcev. Tell Bob to stop giving advice to my client.
Milo gives advice to everybody's client. I can't take a client in the posting room without him busting in there.
Hey, Flex, your thoughts on that, Flex?
Yeah, I 100% agree. Now I understand why waste so much in the off season, knowing that you're not going to be able to compete nowhere near that. So for me, my heaviest was 298. And just like Bob said, I couldn't walk up the stairs without breathing and huffing and puffing. And I can imagine how hard that was on my body to come back down into the 40s or whatever to compete. But, so what you're saying basically is you lost about 30 pounds. And then you're
34 pounds. So 34. He went up to 330 to 296. So that's 36 pounds. Bob, is that like that dramatic? We're not talking about 70 pounds.
Well, here's the difference, okay? It's just more fat to lose at the end of the day. This ain't the 1960s with getting all this off season. I'm going to go up and I'm going to do all this stuff, right? Listen, Samson's been training for years. He's got a base, a good solid base. He's got great genetics and he's got a predisposition for those genetics to be used in bodybuilding. Now, if you were, in my estimation, and again, we're just guessing here, right? If you were, let's just put a number on it, 5 pounds lighter at the Olympia, right? You might have won the damn thing. And I'm not saying that to be facetious. I'm saying, and because you've heard my interviews before, bro. I'm a big Samson fan. I've been rooting on for years and all that. Oh, man, if you were 5 pounds lighter, you might have won the Olympia, right? So if you're coming down, if you're staying leaner, like right now, I'm going to predict right now, you're going to see a better Samson at the Arnold than you saw at the Olympia. Yeah. Not good news for the other competitors, by the way, but you've been leaner longer now. And I'm going to guess that you're probably in better shape now 6 weeks out from the Arnold than you were from 6 weeks out from the Olympia, correct?
That is absolutely spot on, yeah.
Now, you come in 5 pounds lighter than whatever your weight was, so to say, at the Olympia. You will absolutely win the Arnold, put yourself in the position of front runner to the Olympia, co-front runner with Derek Lunsford at that point, since he's not competing. And you'll have a legitimate shot to win your first Olympia, bro.
Wow. Okay, well, hey, Flex, I have a question for you. The Samson Dauda mystique last year was quite interesting because, you even had judges saying, watch out for Samson, watch out for Samson. and he came out and he got a first call out at the Olympia. Is it any similar to what was happening to Ronnie Coleman when people started seeing him moving up real quick, and eventually he beats Kevin Levrone in Europe, and then there's this real serious rumor about Ronnie is actually moving up? Do you see any similarities between that kind of rumor and what's happening to Samson? Because you lived through that, right?
Yeah. So even more so because I think probably Samson has less mileage on him. Remember Ronnie competed for a long time as a amateur, and then when he turned pro, obviously he started using certain type of supplements once he turned pro. But yeah, I do see a difference, but there's a lot less mileage on Samson, and I think it looks to me that Samson don't go around squatting 800-900 pounds, and that's very wise because it's unfortunately it's not necessary. We come from pre-Arnold days when they just threw weights, and we trained at Gold's Gym in the Mecca, so we just thought it was normal, putting 600 pounds in your back and squatting for 10 and having a freaking blood vessel burst in your nose and you blowing out blood. It's just not necessary anymore. So it seems like I know Milos has a very, very training regimen and everything like that, but I think people like Dexter and other guys who have an incredible longevity and never threw on heavyweight. As a matter of fact, I think Dexter mostly only used machines, so he didn't even have to use his stabilization muscles or anything like that. So hopefully Samson says that wise, but there's very much similarities in that. You're right, Tarek. You're muted, Tarek.
Yeah, no, I unmuted myself here. So Samson, we want to finish this live. I have to say, you're one of the nicest bodybuilders I've ever met. I remember judging you in 2019. You took second. You were very gracious. People love you, and you're still very humble. Myself, Bob, and Flex, we tried to get you in trouble here to say anything offensive against Nick Walker, and we couldn't manage. You continue to be one of the nicest people. I want to give you the final word. I know you have a support system. Your lady, she's always there for you. Mm-hmm. I remember when you took second, she was right there with you on the side stage to the right side, giving you a hug. Talk to me about your support system and all the people that love you and have supported you, and we'll finish the live with that.
Oh man, I believe that's one thing. That's the reason I'm here today. That's the reason I'm able to do what I'm doing, because of those support system. Bodybuilding mentalities, man. We are up and down the whole time. Our mindset is troubled. There's no getting away from it. So that support system is your strength. They keep you on track. They keep you from being silly. They keep you grounded, and having that all the way through my career and seeing how well it's developed to what it is now. And even when I started and I wanted to rush and I want it now, I want it all done, I want to be up there right now. And they all said to me, stick in there. It will happen when it happens. The right time will happen. And even at the time, I didn't really want to listen to them. I was like, I want it all now. Sort of looking back now and seeing what they meant and what they really was trying to show me. And I'm like, I'm grateful I listened. And it just kind of inspired me, the fact that people that care for you more than just to see you do well, but they want to see you thrive and actually finish this at the other end and still have your body intact and have your health intact and still be around. So, my lady, Milos, Hostile, these people, even Flex has advised me time and time again. Bob, right from day one, as soon as he saw me, he started giving me advice and telling me, keep your head on straight, do this and do that. And, I always take pride and listen to those people that have a lot to teach me and actually listen, So for me, you guys have all been absolutely amazing and helped me along the way in my career. And I couldn't be more grateful, honestly.
Well, congratulations on a great career. The talk in 2022 was Samson Dauda, and you showed up on the first call out of the Mr. Olympia. Congratulations. All the credit to you and your support system. My name is Tarek El-Guindy with the great sensation, the rookie of the year, right? Samson Dauda going to the Olympia and displaying this awesome physique. The 4-time Arnold Classic champion, Flex Wheeler. Thank you for joining us, Flex. And the voice of bodybuilding, Bob Cicherillo. We will see you guys tomorrow where we have a live with Andrea Shaw, who said she might show up at the Arnold Classic and beat the crap out of Nick Walker and Simpson Dowdy. Nobody would doubt, because Andrea Shaw is phenomenal. My name is Tarek El-Guindi. Join Olympia TV. Otherwise, your life will be miserable. Thank you so much.
Ladies and gentlemen.